Hello everyone and welcome back to Millennium Games. Thank you for joining us tonight. In the studio we've got myself, Caleb, we've got Jennilee and Jake from Game Night Rock.
What's up?
Thank you all so much for watching in. Tonight we are going to be playing Aqua, a new game that's going to be coming out from USAopoly or the Op and Sidekick Games. We have a really cool opportunity to get an early access copy from the Op in store. The game releases on February 6th. But we also have it available for sale now. So you can come into the store even in the middle of this video and come pick up a copy today. So this is for in-store only, but yeah, you can come pick it up in the store and we'll have some good times. So thank you again for joining us. We're going to be playing Aqua. So yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, so we are going to be following the same format as our previous video where we taught the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. This is going to be, we are going to be doing a playthrough, and then we'll be doing a quick Nerdcessment, as we're calling it, of just kind of a little bit about the game, what you can expect, and our thoughts, a little bit of thoughts on it. This is not a review of the game, but more of just to kind of help you as a shopper see if this is a game that you want to add to your shelf. So yeah, any questions before we get into it?
Let's dive in.
No. All right. Well, we do have the chat open on the screen here, so if you have questions, let me know if you have questions in the chat, and we can do our best to answer them.
We're going to do a quick technical break.
All right, we're going to do a quick technical break. Our cruise director, Tennille, is in the back here, and she's going to do some changes. We'll be right back. I think we're still alive.
You're live.
All right, we are back. All right, we're back. Sorry, we had a quick detail that we had to work out there with the cameras. Thank you so much. All right, so again, we'll be playing Aqua. So yeah, as I was saying, we have the chat open. So if you have any questions about the game, feel free to post there, and we'll do our best to answer them. And thank you so much for joining us again. All right, so let's get into it. So this is Aqua, published by the Op and Sidekick Games, made by Dan and Tristan Halstead, I believe is how you say their last name. So if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize.
Canceled.
All right, so this is a tile placement game, which is a term we use in board games where it's just simply where you're going to be taking tiles and placing them to do various things. The last video we taught was Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which was another tile placement game, so you can check that out on YouTube. We can post the link in the chat. So this is another tile placement game called Aqua. What we are doing is we are creating biodiversity and reefs in a coral reef. If that made sense. So here's how the turn structure is going to work. We're going to grow coral, we're going to create habitats and reefs, and then we might establish biodiversity. And it's going to be going through various rounds until these tiles here are basically gone from the game. When we can't reset this, that's when the turn is over. Whoever has the most points wins. There's various ways to score points, which I'll get into in a second. But first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the majority of the game is going to be right here. This is your personal reef, and you're just trying to grow that. So these are the tiles, some examples. These ones are not in the game. Depending on how the setup goes, you remove a number based on how many players are with. So these ones are removed from the game at the start. We'll be playing with these ones, but I'm going to be using these as a demo. So there will be a total of 4 tiles up here. On your turn, you can simply grab one of them, and then you add it to your reef. There's a little bit extra with this token here. This is basically the first player marker who's going to start the round, which I'll explain in a second. But on your turn, the grow coral, you're just going to grab one of these and add it. What you're doing is, so the coral always has to go on the bottom layer, and you can connect it, you place it as long as it connects back to a connection that shares a color. So this is a legal move, this is a legal move, this is even fine here, or this. What you want to do is to create habitats is you want to create a section of a perfect hexagon using 3 colors. So like this. These fish up here are color coordinated, so when you create a habitat of 3, you can grab one of the matching and it goes in places there. This is something you must do, so you can't choose to do it later. Now, one of the things that I really appreciate, Dan, he clarified on social media with me today, something like this also counts as a habitat. So even though it has some sneaking out, it still forms a hexagon, so that can go here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What does not work is something like this. So that does not form an actual hexagon. You couldn't put a fish here.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is a legal move though, and this is what creates what's called a reef. A reef is 4 or more continuous colors that can go the continuous colors. They all go around in a path. So This counts as a reef because it's 4 red pieces all connected.
Okay.
So those are the 2 things you can create. You can create a habitat, which is the 3, which is creating the hexagon, like so, or a reef, which is just a continuation of 4 or more of the same color in a row.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you create a habitat, you must place a fish of the matching color in the habitat you create. So we've talked about taking coral. You just simply take one of these, place it. That's the first step. And then if you create a habitat, you add a fish. You can choose to create reefs. Now, in the event that you create multiple habitats in the same turn, you would place multiple fish.
Cool.
When you place a hexagon, does that break your reef?
I believe so. That's a good question. I'll have to look that up when we get to it. So hold that question.
Probably why you have to place on the hex.
Yes,
so
I believe
okay.
so. All right. So these can't be moved later. So does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
So back to this. So on your turn, you can choose one of these. So this is the sea snail. I'm gonna mess that one up. Sea snail token. If there's something here that you don't like, you can choose to grab this instead of taking a turn, and whoever has this is basically going to take the last action of the round. So I choose one, Jennilee chooses one, Jake chooses one. This stays, and then we refresh the market with 3 new ones, and then whoever had the sea snail puts it back and takes the first turn in the next round.
Gotcha.
When we can't reset the market here, that is when the game end is triggered. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So, grow coral, create habitats, and create reefs, and establishing biodiversity. So the biodiversity are these larger fish up here, and they have different shapes. So we've got like 2, 3, and etc. These are worth a number of victory points, and they also they start with a much higher, so the one on top is worth more than the one on the bottom. So they're first come, first serve. There also are a limited number. So there's only 2 of those in a 3-player game, so one of us might not be able to do it.
Sure.
In order to establish biodiversity, what you have to do is you have to create a number of habitats that create this shape. So if I want to place this eel, I would have to get 2 animals that are different types to be exactly next to each other. So for the sake of the argument, actually I'll switch like this, so this one works here. So the sea horse can go there, and then here I could do this to place the crab. Now I can choose to put this on top. So you can only place the larger animals, which is creating biodiversity, if you have formed that exact shape with animals, and they all have to be unique animals. Does that make sense? Again,
Yes.
They are first come, first serve. You may or may you can choose not to do that, but they're worth a lot of points, and you probably want to.
Do you get all the victory points at the end?
All
so
victory
you get
points
it
at the
for
end.
the 3, the
Yep.
2, and the 5.
Yep. All scoring is at the end game, which is a good question, so I'll explain that as we go.
And
But-
do these get higher as they go?
Nope, they're all the same.
Okay.
Good question. Yep.
Okay.
Only the larger animals have the increasing or decreasing values of points.
Perfect.
All right. So again, the creating of biodiversity, that is a optional rule. You don't have to, and so that's you can use that to kind of like save up. So I could place the 2 here, or I could try to build up another one to place one of the longer pieces.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. So on your turn, you're just going to grab coral, place it. You must establish habitat if you do, and then you might want to add biodiversity. Okay?
Cool.
So that's what the turn structure looks like. It's over 17 rounds, and that's how many of these tokens are. Then we do endgame scoring. So let's talk about that because this game does play very fast. So there are a few things in which you'll score. So let me just kind of create an example reef here. So in a situation like this, so for the sake of the argument, I'm going to make this over here. So this is obviously a very illegal play, but we're just going to use this as an example.
Sure.
So let's say this is at the end of the game. There's a couple things that you do when you score. You score all of your large animals, so I would just immediately score 5 victory points. You then remove this because that's done. But you still keep it to the side, but you don't need to do anything else with it right now. You then score all of your small animals. Then there are reefs that trigger. So a reef is 4 or more continuous. You add up the total points from your reefs. For each reef you have, score the point shown on the small animal that it's touching. So right now, this reef is worth a total of 2 points because it's touching this crab. So if somehow I had gotten the reef to touch over here, that reef would be worth 5 points because you'd add these 2 together. So
Cool.
the reefs, you're trying to touch as many of the small animals as possible.
Wow.
Sweet.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool.
One
Yeah, that
animal,
is cool.
one animal can trigger multiple reefs.
Okay.
So you
Yeah,
score
cool.
each individual reef.
All right.
Then there are the ecosystems. So this setup, Tina, would you mind zooming out for me? Perfect, thank you. These are the beginning game recommended setup. There are a lot of these different ecosystems that can be changed in the game, but I set it up for the beginner game. These are placed out here. These are randomized. So there are 6 different ecosystems that will score. So the very first one is, this is the core. These are the core game ecosystems. So this one is number 1 is for every native small animal you have, you score 1 point per small animal adjacent to it. What that means, so when it says the native, it's whatever animal is directly above this. That is the native animal to this ecosystem. So what this is saying, for every one of the jellyfish that I have in my section, I score 1 point per small animal adjacent to it, color including its own. So if for some reason I had this set up, this is saying I would score a total of 2 points for this ecosystem because I'd have 2 animals adjacent to each jellyfish.
Sure.
In the situation where you have multiple jellyfish, they would each score itself. So each of these jellyfish would actually be worth 3 points.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that is this one. These ones are all of the same. So they are, for if you have one of these animals, you score 2 points for every native animal that you have in your entire board. So this is saying for the barracuda, or these are double-sided, it doesn't matter, just whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
So if I have, for every eel or barracuda, for every crab I have, I score 2 points. For
Sweet.
every, I think that's dolphin or manatee, I think. A manatee?
Manatee.
Or a seal, a manatee, I think. For every dolphin or manatee, I would score 3 points for every seahorse that I have. So these ones are all the same. You
Cool.
trigger these if you have collected one of these and then have these animals in your habitats.
Wow. Okay.
Cool. A lot of points.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Pretty much the game. So the nice thing is I love when games do this, but they do come with this great scorekeeper that is fantastic for scoring.
Nice.
So we'll probably be
Okay.
busting
Love
this
that.
out for adding the score up. That is a brief overview of Aqua. Are there any questions?
Just the reef question. If you place an animal
Oh,
on top, I'm guessing it breaks the reef.
That's a good question. Let me quick check. It does not say, but I believe it would, because you don't remove
Move those
Yeah,
to
so
be
I would
able to show the underside.
I would
of
imagine
the,
it does
Cool.
break the
Okay.
reef.
Yeah.
All right. So, any questions before we get started?
I would say, actually,
Yeah.
just had a question.
Yeah.
These ones are worth 2,
Yep.
and these ones are worth
Yep.
some of them are 3.
Yep.
Is that just because there's more of certain colors?
No,
Or is it
there-
just completely random?
It's so there are 3 2s and 3 3s, and these are randomly determined.
Also, how do we remember which
Yeah.
color is associated with each tile?
It links in. So this it's what's over above it.
No, I know, but aren't these? Oh, those might not all go away.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
Good question. So we just finished our playthrough of Aqua. We're now going to talk through the 3 questions of our Nerdcessment, as we like to call it. So the 3 questions that we're going to answer are: what did we like about this game? Who is this game for? And what are your expectations going into the game as a new player? So, all right, question number 1: what did I like about the game? You want to go first?
I'll go first as the winner.
As the winner,
As the winner,
king
you know.
of the fishes.
First things first. Games. I mean, this first time playing it. My initial assessment is just like how easy, but how strategic it can be. Truly, you can pick it up, and that's what I liked about it. I honestly didn't even really have a strategy going in. It kind of just happened as the game went on. It's really just really easy to pick up and just kind of play, and that's what I really liked about it.
Yeah.
So I also feel like it could have easily gone a different way for me throughout the rest of the game. I just happened to get some good tiles.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, as far as tile placement games, like this ranks pretty high on the list. As far as one, visually it's beautiful. I love the pop of color, which is
Yeah.
nice, very vibrant in that aspect. And like Jake, like you said, it's easy to pick up, and also you really have to think about which strategy you're going to go for,
Yeah.
which I kind of like. But I would say along the lines of like Calico or even like Carcassonne, things
Yeah.
like that. If you're into tile placements, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I I was surprised at how thinky the game was. So the op is... They're most known for doing games like more party style games, and one of the things they've been really trying to do is to break out of that expectation that they only do party games and break into the more serious hobby gamers style board game while still continuing games like Telestrations and everything. And so when I went into this, I just kind of went in thinking it was going to be like a younger kids like family weight game, and like playing the two-handed, I'm like, oh, this is surprisingly thinky. I was not expecting that, like, oh, I want this tile because I can do this, I can put this creature here, but if I do this creature here, I can't get the diversity that I need to do this. So I was like, that was unexpected. I thought that was really cool, that it was like, it was very easy to pick up, but then like instantly I'm thrown into this, like, oh, I'm thinking like multiple steps ahead. The other thing I really like about this is, as you mentioned, the color palette. Like we talked about Vincent Dutrait. I love his color palettes, but the thing I really appreciate about them is he makes them so colorblind accessible. Every one of these colors has a unique coral, so it doesn't matter if you're red-green colorblind, you just look at the shape. So I like that he does a very vibrant color pattern, but he also makes it so that if someone is colorblind, they can still play the game without any problems. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Really cool.
Yeah. Any final things that you like about the game?
I like the general gameplay. I think this adds an element which is really great, especially because if there is, and this happened, I'm sure to you guys as well, but at least in my gameplay, I was really looking for a specific piece, and when I didn't have that color come out, I was like, you know what, let me hold off. It will probably flip in the next round. Yeah,
and one of the things I haven't touched yet, but there's like a ton, like, so these ecosystems here, this is just the beginner setup. There's like, I think, I don't remember how many, like 10 more. There's like advanced. There's so you can see here. There's like all of these different sections here. So there's a ton of different options. That it's not just score these.
So your replayability is really
there's a lot more to it. They have there's a you can even like make it a little, if you're playing with younger kids. There's other rules you can play a little bit easier. So like there definitely is a lot of like replayability in this game. So yeah, I like that a lot about the game.
Yeah.
All right, so question number 2. Who is this game for?
I think if you're just into general tile placements, this is a great step. I would say that it's not as complicated as Calico, where you're really concentrating super hard on those patterns and colors and creating your ABs, which I think it can be a little like strategic. It's kind of hard to do that in Calico, in my opinion. But this is definitely more of that mid-level game where it's easy setup, quick to throw on the table. It's not massive. So again, if you're like thinking about shelf space, things like that, it's kind of catered more towards those groups.
Yeah. I also do think it's a great like starter game. It's a great gateway game, as we kind of have talked about in the past before, where if you have friends that aren't really super into board games, this might be a great one to get to the table for them, because again, it's so easy. Tile placement is a game that's been around. Also, if they really like it, there's so many other games out there that are similar, so it's like kind of branch into other things. But this one has the visuals that I think a lot of other tile placements don't have, that I think will draw in a newer crowd towards games, if that's kind of like what you're aiming for.
It's very attractive.
It's very attractive. So I think Calico is similar in that way, where it's just very visually pleasing. So it's good.
I think this is a perfect game for like anyone who comes in with a younger family and say like, hey, we want to get off the screens a little bit more. We want to start playing some games. We've gotten into we've played the classics like the Parker Brother Monopoly style. We want to try more modern board games. This is one that's going to be on my recommendations for that family. The box does say 8 years old or older and 1 to 4 players. But honestly, I think depending on the kid, I think even like I could see a 6-year-old playing this, depending on the level.
Right, especially when you're just talking about colors and matching colors, and it doesn't have to be. You don't have to make it like a super. I mean, this is great, for a more advanced player, but you could even make this even more simplified, or honestly, you could probably take that element out of the game if you wanted to play with a younger crowd, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is nice.
I also felt like, for a younger crowd specifically, you're just matching colors like the whole time.
Right.
There's not really a lot of bad moves that you can make. They're just moves that might be better, but they're all going to score you points some way.
Yeah.
Right.
So even if you're just like matching colors the whole time, which is just this game at its simplest, you might actually still do pretty good, which is kind of what I did the whole time playing this game. Yeah. I was just like, I kind of want the animals and match these colors, and like it ended up working out really well for me. So,
but again, for younger crowd, you could even take this element out because trying to get 4 different ones might be a little bit harder for some. Yeah. So I kind of like that fact that you can kind of manipulate the game and make it like house rules, really.
Yep. Yeah, and I also like, even for the board gamers who are more into the heavier side of games, this game is very quick. So this is like kind of like it's a great
could be a starter.
You're going into a weekend of board gaming. Well, we're going to throw this at the table, just kind of get the night going.
Juices flowing, or even like palate cleanser when you're between 2 really heavy games, and you're like, all right, we just need like a mental relief, right? Yeah. I think this is a great game that would do that because regardless, it's fun. Like I enjoyed just placing my tiles and can I make a hexagon?
All right, so the last question, going into the game, what are some expectations you should be aware of? I don't know. I can start with this one. I think one thing that this is kind of what we talked about in the previous video too, of the analysis paralysis. And this is where I think this is probably where it gets that 8+, is if you are playing with younger kids, like having that whole, in order to, like if you really want to get the whale, you need to come up with 4 different animals, and to come up with the 4 different animals, you really need to think through. So like that can be, depending on how young you are, that might be a little overwhelming at first. Again, you can easily get over like scale past that, but just like going into the first time, that might be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, as a first time player too, I actually almost did that. Like, I thought if I placed a green tile here, I was going to have 2 of the sea turtles, and I thought I was going to be able to get to manta ray, but I totally forgot. It has to be 3 different. Yeah. So even for like a newer player and somebody who's in their 20s, as I am, like it could still be like a little overwhelming for your first playthrough, but
what's nice is it allowed the pivot.
You
were able to pivot and still do what you were trying to accomplish.
Exactly.
It just took 2 extra turns.
Yeah, it just took an extra step.
Yeah.
Which, I think that's another kind of highlight of this game. It's just easy to kind of just go. And I still could have placed a sea turtle there and gotten points too. Yeah. Like I still could have, done, something successful.
If you wanted. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I think I wasn't prepared for how fast it was going to go. Like you see that stack of tiles and you're like, okay, this is going to take a little bit of time. Yeah. However, I felt like I just looked over and we had like 4 tiles left and I was like, what's going on? Like, I'm not prepared. But I think too, like I was just like kind of having fun. I wasn't really like overthinking. So I wasn't allowing myself to get to that analysis paralysis stage where I was like, I was like, oh, that's a cool piece. Like, let me put that in. Let's make it work.
Yeah. But I think the game's great for that younger crowd getting into board games like this one. There's always have been the evergreen games like Catan, Pandemic, and everything, and with games like this, I think the op is really doing a great job of being a contender in that space of like I want a new game. I want to get into games. Like these games are like, pay attention to them. I think that's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you've never played a tile placement game before, this might be the one to start with. Yeah. Honestly, like I feel like everybody kind of starts with Carcassonne. Yeah. But I mean, this one might contend.
Yeah, this is probably an easier teach to get.
It's an easier teach, and I think it has a wider audience too, especially with just like the way that it's laid out.
Yeah. I would say for scoring purposes.
So when can we purchase this game?
Yeah, so great question.
Now.
So the official street date for this game is this February 6th. But thank you to the op, we have a special deal where we can actually sell it in store today. So you can drive down to Millennium Games right now and pick this game up. But the official street date is the 6th, but we have it on our shelves now. So, yeah, good question. One other thing I forgot to mention that I really like about this game, I love the quality of cardboard.
Very thick.
This
very
is
nice.
for the production quality of that cardboard.
We didn't talk about that. Also, we could talk about the board game inserts as well.
Let's show the inside of the box.
Yeah.
Storage
we
is
forgot
like
to
a
do this
big
last
deal.
time.
Yeah, storage is a big deal in gaming, and you want your pieces to go back in the box very nicely, where they're not getting all jangled up. And
this does a good job with storage. So you actually, it's one of the inserts that you make yourself, but it's a very, very nice quality one. But yeah, you've got the room for all the larger animals. It does give you a breakdown for different color animals, as well as all of the coral tiles, and then you have all of the extra ecosystems that you can play as well. So yeah, the Vincent Dutrait art throughout the entire box, even on the box lid, inside, outside. Like the quality of this,
it's good.
This is really good.
I love the whole pano of the coral reef on the outside of the bottom of the box.
Yeah.
It's just that's stunning.
Yeah,
and that
It's
box
so
can
fun.
double as an underwater dungeon for D&D minis.
Yeah, so if you need a backdrap for your D&D minis, just put that down. Now you have
exactly.
You can put a ship on top.
Well, that is our Nerdcessment and playthrough and teach of Aqua, coming out on February 6th, or get it early in the store from USA Opoly and Sidekick Games. We want to just say thanks to the Op for giving us this opportunity. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who watched the video and chatted with us. We really appreciate it. Big shout out and thanks to Jake and Jennilee for joining us on camera tonight. And
love winning games.
Yeah, we'll get you next time, Jake. And thank you all again for joining us. We appreciate it very much. Have a nice night, and don't forget to play something new.
Bye, guys.
Bye.